20 international chess professionals converge in St. Louis for the 2017 Fall Chess Classic. Hello chess fans, the action continues with round 2 of the Fall Chess Classic here in St. Louis. Today, Group A featured only one decisive game, but Group B now has its first decisive leader in Alejandro Ramirez. We'll talk to him later on today. The fields combined have a prize fund of $36,000. The top prize in Group A is $6 grand. The top prize in Group B is $4 grand. We play one classical round of chess every day through Thursday, September 14. Rounds begin at 1 p.m. here in St. Louis, except for the last day, which begins earlier. A big win in round number 2 for the runner-up of the Spring Classic, Grandmaster Yaroslav Zherebukh. Thank you for joining me. Congratulations on your win against another one of the favorites in the field, Tigran Petrosian. Take us through the game and show us what happened.
Position looked somewhat theoretical, but the difference is that in main theory, bishop is somehow on e3 instead of b2. I felt pretty comfortable here. I thought rook c5, queen a8, it's what I saw with the bishop on e3, but I thought with the bishop on b2 it should be even better for black. So I was really comfortable around this point, and then I guess I got kind of too complacent, like, you know, I got too happy about my position, and okay, I was playing more or less alright, and then at this point e5 is objectively, I think, just a mistake, kind of risky. I would say it's too risky to create so many weaknesses. I should have just kept playing something solid, maybe double the rooks or just knight c5 or something of the sort, and then the position is more or less equal. Well, probably equal is not the right word, but I mean balanced, because you can't say equal, because I mean still be playing for 3 results. Obviously, let's say knight c5. I mean knight e5, and maybe I can even take, or yeah, I'll just probably take. I mean, it's normally white, if the pawn was on g3, white is better in such cases, but when the pawn is on g5, I guess I have play against it, so we can say it's balanced more or less. And then here I got a gift from him. After h5 he played queen h3 really quickly, so I was kind of bluffing with h5. He believed it. I mean, he should have just taken on h6, and then it seems like white just has a really good advantage, because after knight f6, queen h3, my initial idea was like knight h5, and for some reason I was happy about my position, but then simple e3 just proves that white has a big advantage. He's ready to play knight g5, and if I don't have any attack, he's just clearly better here. So yeah, he should have taken. And after this, I guess the game, well, I definitely had an initiative. And honestly, I thought that I was winning, but as I was told after the game, it was like a slight advantage for black. Like around this point, I was very happy about my position. After rook c5, I thought that I'm just winning, but for some reason, as I've been told, after knight b4, the evaluation, computer's evaluation, is only 0.47 in black's favor. I'm not quite sure why, to be honest, because I thought after queen d8 I should be just winning, or at least well, we can agree that the game is basically either gonna end up in a draw or black is gonna win. So 2 results only are possible here. The idea is that if knight c6 is not working, because queen g5, knight a5, and knight f4, and then if queen g3, then just knight e2. So I thought here I should be really good. Probably the best chance for black would have been to take on h5, and then go into this endgame and try to survive. Although I'm pretty optimistic that after knight e6, I guess I would have won. Like, from human's perspective, this position is should be winning, I thought. Although he told me after the game that, you know, he was actually happy about his position. You know, he thought it's about equal or unclear, and I'm like, I thought I was winning. Like, so you can see that grandmasters and computers, I mean, they evaluate the position sometimes completely differently. You know. Yeah, and after Queen H5, probably here I should be winning for sure. After F4, C5, and then Queen D5 is the most precise move. Because like if something like F3, then I wasn't so sure about this. Maybe it's also winning somehow for black, but I thought to centralize my queen is never a mistake. So Queen E5 looked good, and then this is it. The game is over. Yeah, that's pretty much the end.
Well, Yaro, congratulations on that victory, and we're happy to have you in St. Louis again. Now there's another tournament going on around the world, the World Cup of Chess, 128-player knockout, and a lot of the chess world is wondering, where's Yaro seeded into the first round, but you elected not to play, and your opponent actually, Onashuk, I think, wasn't it? Got a walkover. Yeah. Explain to the chess world what exactly happened for your withdrawal in the World Cup.
Well, it's actually pretty discouraging for me that I couldn't play. So the reason is that I'm applying for a green card, and actually I submitted my petition like a year ago, and it has been a while. So I thought, you know, by now I should have got the response like many times, because I know some of my friends applied and they got response like in 3 months after the original application. And when I was signing the contract, chances were, according to my lawyers, is that, hey, you should get it like by the end of August for sure. Like, I mean it should be there, you know. And somehow I guess I got unlucky, and I'm still waiting. So I just couldn't go because the chances were that I would not be able to make it back. I would not be allowed back to the United States. So
that is a truly unfortunate set of circumstances. Sorry to hear that. But that's the case. That's what's going on. Yaro, thank you for joining me. 1.5 to start. Let's see where his contemporaries are in Group A after the second round. Joining Yaro in the top 3 in Group A are Yaroslav and Alexander Shimanov. Those last 2 players are in key games tomorrow, as round 3 will see Yaroslav with white against Georg Meyer and Alexander Shimanov with white against Rufeng Li. We're early on here in the second round in Group B, and I have Grandmaster Alejandro Ramirez, who already is the lone leader after 2 rounds, perfect 2 for 2. And today, you defeated Ni Shiqun with the black pieces. Tell us about the game and take us through it.
Bishop d3 really surprised me. For some reason, I forgot that I could play bishop h5. I actually saw it as soon as I played bishop g6, which was kind of silly. And after bishop h5, I actually have no idea what she was planning on doing. I originally thought f3 check is not a big deal because just king f1. And then I remembered that after king f1, actually, I'm controlling f2. I can play knight f2. And then I'm just winning, obviously. This is just a fork. So this was actually kind of silly. I forgot about bishop h5. But bishop g6 is also strong. Like, this endgame is really unpleasant for white. The pair of bishops is very strong. And her bishop on b2 is really bad. Knight d4, e5, knight e6. Knight e6 is not pleasant to play, but knight b5 might be a little bit better, but you have to reckon with ideas of like bishop c2 and a4, or a4 first. It's really unpleasant. Knight e6, and then I thought this was really strong. Takes, and bishop c6. I can't play rook c8, because after rook d7, king f7, even though the knight's trapped, she has bishop a3. And now I don't have a good way of defending the bishop on e7, so white's at least fine. Bishop c6 very strong, because just takes d7 away from the knight. And after knight c7, rook d8 is very dangerous for her, especially in time pressure, because this endgame after takes, knight d5 might just be lost for white. She has to make sure that takes doesn't lose immediately. I couldn't make it work for black. I thought she had enough time to bring the king to either e4 or c4 and play f3, which is important. But still, it's a little scary. And I don't have to take on d5, obviously. I can just play king f7, king e6, and torture her forever, which is what I was planning on doing. Knight d5, though, allows me now to take on d5, and there's a very big difference. If she takes on d5 with the rook, then this endgame is actually lost. She doesn't have enough time to play f3 and defend the pawn on d5, so she just loses. Either the pawn on d5 or the pawn on f2. So she has to take on cd5, but this is a very unpleasant endgame. I'm going to blockade with my king. She cannot play king d... Well, she can play king d3, and she should have. And I'm not sure I should take the pawn, but I can take the pawn if I wanted to, because after king e2 check, I have bishop d4 blocking the file. Although this endgame, I wasn't sure if it was good for black. Like, I thought after bishop takes, rook c1, I thought she could hold this rook endgame. I wasn't going to take on d5. I was going to play b5, but I always have the threat of actually taking on d5 at some point, because I have bishop d4. Bishop c3 made my life really easy, though. Like, at this point, just opening up the e-file for the rook is really strong. And she played in really severe time pressure, very inaccurate moves. Like, she should play rook g3 and force my idea of playing rook e3, which exchanges the rooks. And then going into this endgame, king e2 here, attacking this pawn. Not really sure if she played king d3 or h3, but I just put h3 there and play this endgame, which is probably lost. Because, well, I have an extra pawn, and I should be able to convert somehow, but it's not so clear. But I thought after rook e4, rook h3, rook g4, I'm very clearly winning. g3, h6. She can't allow me to take on g2. She has to go g3. Rook h5, and now rook g5. And then, of course, the question is this endgame. But because I'm threatening to play g4 and bishop g1, she has to go here, which allows my king to get all the way to e4. And I was going to have serious doubts that she would be able to hold an endgame with a king on e4 and the passed f-pawn. I mean, I wouldn't be, like, horribly surprised, but I would be really, like, I just thought it was winning. Rook h4, and then, okay, rook f5 is a little bit nice. I'm threatening rook f2. Rook g4 doesn't really do much, but it helps her get closer to time control. But this is actually just lost, I think. I mean, I have so much activity. The king is very strong. My rook's better than hers, or my bishop's better than hers. And this is just a final combination to win the game. Rook h1, h4. And then b5 is a very nice move, because if she goes rook c1, well, first rook g4 is impossible, because f5 just traps the rook. Rook c1 is impossible, because bishop b4 forces a pawn endgame, as I'm going to take everything on e1. She's completely pinned. Or go into a bishop endgame very similar to what we're going to see in the game after check and king e4, which doesn't really change much. Or what she did in the game, which is rook c2, and after check takes bishop b4, winning a tempo. She played this kind of clever h takes g5, because I cannot take on e1, as my bishop doesn't return on time. But it doesn't really change the game. Pawn takes f5, both taking on g5's win. Bishop f2, king e4, bishop b6, a4, and she resigned because she's completely paralyzed. All I'm going to do is push this pawn here, put the king here, and eventually when she puts the bishop on c7, I'm going to go bishop c7, bishop c5, bishop f2, bishop g3, and there's nothing she can do about it.
Wow, a great start, Alejandro. Congratulations on that win again. Now, one of the other side stories of this tournament, there are several St. Louis University players here. It's no secret that you are the man behind the SLU chess team. And I know you guys have only had one meeting so far this year, but with the new incoming players, the new students at SLU, what's your perspective on this year versus last season?
Well, it's always difficult to play as a team the first time you're together. You still haven't fully formed your team spirit. You still have a lot of kinks to iron out. A lot of even just bureaucratic inside university things that still weren't so clear. But now we're like, we know each other better. The team is much closer. They train together. They're used to each other. They're stronger. We have two new players. One of them is our new first board, who's Alexander Ipatov. So I like our chances a lot better than I did last year, and I know that the students are working very hard, including with the participation in this tournament, to prepare for Pan Ams.
Well, I wish you the best on that. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
A great 2 rounds thus far. Let's take a look how the rest of the field is doing in Group B. Alejandro is a frequent commentator here at the Chess Club, but he's definitely not ready to retire, sitting atop with the perfect score. Tomorrow, Alejandro takes on international master Personna in the key game of the day. Each round's notable players will be interviewed in this recap, but remember to follow the games live every day at 1 p.m. in St. Louis via Chess24 and USChessChamps.com.